Director of the Performing Arts Project. For those I have not met, hello. For those I have met, hello again. We're happy to host this information session tonight. We have I see a lovely mix of folks out there who are joining us. Some of you have auditioned and been accepted and have told us already that you are planning to join us, which is rad. Some of you have not made up your mind yet. Some of you have yet to audition. So it's an interesting pool of folks, and we're going to try to speak to a little bit about all three programs that we run. Again, I don't want to presume anything. Some of you may know all this, some of you may not, but we have three programs. One is called Blueprint, another is called Compass, and yet a third is called Panorama. And we are more than eager to answer any questions that any of you have about one or more of those aforementioned programs. And I want to say a special hello to Juliet Gray and Kim Slade, who are here with us, who are the brains behind everything we do at the Performing Arts Project, and the brawn, frankly, if I'm honest. They check both of those boxes. And we also have Neil Patrick Stewart, who is the Associate Artistic Director of the program and runs Blueprint day to day. Lindsay Lab and LaQuet Sharnell Pringle and Nina Goldman and Gavin Creel are all here with us. And we're just gonna have a freewheeling conversation about what's what. If you have questions up your sleeve, feel free to raise your hand at a certain point very soon in the conversation, and we'll call on you and ask away. If you don't yet have a question, we encourage you to cultivate one as we talk. Kim and Juliet, if there's anything you want to add first, by all means, but if not, we'll go to our panel. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think we wanted to see if everyone wouldn't mind turning your cameras off so we can see the panel members for this portion, and then we'll bring them back on for the questions. And we're also going to put a link in the chat right now that goes to a page on our website about all of our online programming.
That has some really cool videos on it.
That's fancy. Yeah, we do have some videos there that are pretty fun. Kim, anything to add? You're good?
I'm great, and just so glad everybody's here.
Right on. So panel. If there's something that you're particularly excited about with regard to our virtual mode of programming, something that having all five of you already taught quite a bit this past year in various iterations, anything comes to mind with regard to how we dream up what we're doing in practice and in sort of philosophy, anything at all that comes to mind? I'd love to start out that way. Gavin, James?
I want to say, because I sort of sat on the outside of it last year, I only did a very limited bit of interaction because I was just going through some stuff and I didn't have what I could bring to, and what I saw, I want to say to everyone, was not only inventiveness and preparation from Juliet and Kim especially, and Jonathan and Neil, but like putting this together in such a way that none of us are in this to do some weird hybrid life. Just so you all know, we have no interest in Zooming ever again. But we are live performers. We are live theater artists. We want to stand in rooms, on stages, in spaces, found and otherwise, and connect with human beings in a live way. But to watch these people and their inventiveness on how to engage you all was so beyond inspiring to me that made me write Jonathan afterwards and go, shame on me for not being emotionally ready enough to jump in this virtual way. And if as much time as I'm able to give with my schedule this year, I'll be there. So I just wanted to, anybody who's got that like, oh, I don't know if I want to go back, or this isn't what TPAP is about, or I don't know if I want to sign up, pay the money, join. I promise you, you will have your eyes, ears, hearts opened by these people and their inventiveness. And that is the core of what I think TPAP is about, is constantly digging to invent and create more. That's all I'll say.
And it's not only us, it's every single person who signs up for the experiment, every student. Like I too was scared going into the performing arts project last summer because we can plan and plan and plan, but we don't know exactly how it's going to look if we've never done it in this format before. And like it's amazing how we all learned and taught and grow together. Every single one of us sort of showed us like students were teaching us what this could be, and we made all these discoveries in real time during it. During Blueprint, we had the Blueprint interns and Bubby Fellows, our fellowship program, put together this cool down podcast for every single night. And so even though we had signed off a couple hours before, everybody in the company, the Blueprint company, had this moment of togetherness that they could listen to at the end of the night and sort of put the day to bed. And they were so lovely. They were like these incredible things that I've missed so much ever since then. I want those nightly podcasts. And so, yeah, it's true. It's last summer completely transcended in my mind what I thought these things could be. And I know enough about the Performing Arts Project to know that this summer won't be a repeat of that. It will be different and better and weirder and larger and more beautiful. And I personally can't wait.
Thanks, Neil. Nina?
Hi, yeah, I think what we all realized was that as artists, we can't just stop. Even though the rest of the world, we've had to take this pause, we can't stop training. We can't stop growing and exploring and being curious. And I teach ballet, and I teach a lot of body awareness movement, a little contemporary. And I know a lot of people were concerned as I don't have any space, and I've got my sisters and brothers and parents in the same place with me, and how do I make it work? And it's incredible how everyone sort of found a way to create a little bit of space for themselves to zero in on continuing to develop your tools. And so I teach ballet, and I feel like, you don't need a ballet bar. You take a chair, you take the wall, you take we make it work. And most of us, all of us, faculty have been teaching the whole year. We all teach at different colleges and studios, that we kind of know how to make it work now. You know what I mean? We know how do we make the most of carpeting and siblings and competing for Wi-Fi and still to continue with, okay, I've got to like at the end, I want to get out on stage. I want to book that job. I want to get that audition. I want to do those 2 pirouettes. We can't stop. We got to keep going. So, it's so wonderful. I mean, I've been involved in this program since day one, and you have an opportunity, regardless of this Zoom virtual world that we're in, to continue to develop those skills and connect and explore your own sense of, your own sense of self within the material. That's it for now.
Thanks, Nina. That's really true. Wall-to-wall carpeting and wall-to-wall siblings. Those are 2 real things, 2 real things to watch out for. LaQuet or Lindsay, anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of what Nina is saying. I think for me last year, I learned how to be easy with my training. And it was mostly because of my friends who I was in class with. Hello, that's y'all. It became not so much do what I'm doing. This is the warm up. Now I'm going to demonstrate. Now you follow. It became an incredible exploration of, what did you find doing this on this carpet? Or what did you find doing this on linoleum? Okay, maybe we should put a yoga mat or a bath mat, because what we really need to do is release that hip flexor. Hello. So it was a great opportunity for us to play and be easy, as opposed to, I gotta get this in this week, 2 weeks. It was, how can I allow this to be my trampoline to keep me moving forward? Yeah, after this class, last year and pretty much every year that I am a part of TPAP, that's the ish that makes me excited, is that I get to find a new way to not ram my training into my body, but to allow it to explore and evolve and be cultivated on my ever evolving body. Yeah. So that's what I got last year.
I'm gonna just ride that wave all the way home, LaQuet. It's the idea of TPAP, I think, in the physical sense, when we're in a room together. I think every summer we come back and we're like, how can I do something new in this space that I've been in, every summer for the last 9 years, 10 years. And last summer was terrifying for me because I think when I go into the physical space with everyone, I'm like vibing off of their energy, and it's like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that through a screen? And how am I going to learn new things if I'm still learning literally like how to let people into my room? Like, how can I, you know what I mean? The logistics of it is, and the technology of it is so, and how can I be an open and creative vessel if I'm still trying to figure out all of those logistical nightmares? And that was a really scary thing that ended up not being an issue. I mean, thank God for Kim and Juliet, who just literally, not literally, but put out every fire. Not literally, there were no fires.
They didn't have no fires.
There were no fires.
Boom session burned down 30 years ago. But they were there at every turn. We had interns to help, and it just ran so smoothly on this side. I don't know what happened on your side, Kim and Juliet, but I'm sure it was also very smooth and no problems at all. But we just figured it out. We found our way out of the plastic bag, and were able to create things that I didn't think I even knew existed. And we just, we did so many wonderful things. And so now going back into this virtual space for a second time, I'm excited about that same feeling of going into the space again, revisiting that space and figuring out, what can I do new this time? How can I take what I've done before and do it differently and turn it on its head and make new discoveries? So I'm really excited about that, revisiting it this summer and making it new.
Thanks, Lindsay, and thanks to all of you. Something I think that you're all hearing in the past several minutes, if you perhaps didn't already know this about the Performing Arts Project, is that this is very much a laboratory devoted to unsealing your imagination, devoted to surprising yourself with regard to what new you can create, what new you are capable of, what just how to expand your idea of yourself. And Kurt Vonnegut has at varying times in our history been kind of a North Star for us, and his creativity and his innovation, which I think is a word that Gavin used as well. And he has a quote that I really love, which Lindsay just reminded me of as she was talking. He said that the key in art is to jump off the cliff and develop your wings on the way down. And much like an assurance that there were no actual fires last summer on Zoom, there's no actual cliff jumping either during the pandemic or pre-pandemic for that matter. But the sense of jumping off, and even if your wings don't entirely get made before you hit the earth, you actually can, again, in a figurative sense, benefit from realizing that the impact is actually not all that damaging, or at least not nearly as damaging as you might have thought it would be. And the practice of wing making under duress is a very soulful one, I think we've all found in our way. And it's in large part what we're trying to tinker with as a kind of teaching methodology and a learning methodology. And I can only say, just in closing, that it's very much a place that is devoted to non-hierarchical structures. We are all in this together, humbly sort of kneeling to how exhilaratingly difficult the act of creativity is. And when I say we, I mean everyone there. I mean faculty, staff, students, whomever. And the faculty, and I think a lot of people pay lip service to what I'm about to say, but I really believe that we walk this walk. The faculty simply sees students as people who are born just a little bit later. and that we are all contemporaries in our way in human history, really not that much younger than us at all. And so, and in the arts, the performing arts, it's not like a corporate ladder. There's actually very little distinction to be made in the professional realm between, people of different ages. That is on the rehearsal floor when you walk in on day one, that matters not at all. I understand that in high school and college, it can matter. And when a sophomore gets like a lead, there's some embittered seniors who wanted that role, but who feel like they were owed it or whatever, all those little things that just 2 years separate those, wide divisions. But once college ends, those things all go away. And so we feel like, why not start now? Why not make nothing of any division at all, be it age or status or anything. So those are, I think, some of our teaching philosophies and our approach, not only to how we went about Company 9 or our ninth summer, I should say, during a pandemic, but even, things that existed beforehand as well. Is there anything before we open it up to anyone who wants to ask a question that the 7 of you would like to say? Juliet?
I just wanted to add to all of this that one thing that we do to ensure that you're able to jump off the proverbial cliff is we want to set you up for success. So we will send you a handbook with tips on how to set up your room or the best way to use your sound or, all of these things that we have learned because we want you to be comfortable and ready to go to fail forward with us, along with us. So I just wanted to add that to it also.
Thanks, Jules. Anybody else? Kim?
I think one of the things too that we've seen throughout this year is, and we really, when we approached last summer, we didn't want to be making do. We wanted to be making the most of. And I think that we have discovered sort of inadvertently how many of the skills that we ended up working on last summer have become very practical now. For example, we did, and we will be doing again this summer, what we call our Bloonified auditions, which is sort of our version of Unifieds. Most of you are probably familiar with that, but it's a lot of colleges coming together to audition all at one time in one place. So we did our online version of that last summer. And what we found is everyone was saying, oh my gosh, thank goodness we did that because all of our auditions ended up being virtual. So we had that skill set that we were able to take with us. And the feedback we're getting from a lot of the universities now is that that format is going to be around for the indefinite future, at least for like pre-screens and a lot of the stuff, just for safety and money and all of that. A lot of universities are going to stick with this Zoom audition format. So for Blueprint, I think that was a big success that we didn't sort of know how important that was going to be moving forward, but now we do know how important it is. And I think professionally too, so much auditioning is becoming sending in your tape, knowing how to do all this technical work. And then for an example of that at Panorama would be how we learned how to video edit. Our students learned how to, video edit and make short films. And, the format led to all of these new skills that will be carried forward in this new, medium that we're all still sort of expanding now what the definition even of making art means in this new world that we're in. And I think that will continue to be the case moving forward.
Yeah, very true. Any other quick comments or any other meals to eat just before we open it up to?
My blood sugar is dropping. I needed some food. I've been going out of frame and there's one nodding. Juliet.
You didn't realize, Gavin, that you were still on stage.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, you were in the wings, but we could all see you.
Yeah.
This was the wings.
If you see the audience can see you.
JB,
No.
I meant to run this by you earlier, but I guess now's a good time. I was just planning on making my 15-minute class cliff diving, but I'm getting a vibe that that's not cool. Should we not do that?
We'll talk about what's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Depends what's at the bottom of the cliff.
Yeah.
All right. If there's nothing else that anyone wants to add, I was just kidding, Gav. Go ahead and eat. That's totally fine. This is informal. We're all here, family. then if there's nothing else, by all means, if you haven't already, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat, and Juliet will call on you. If you don't want to be on camera and ask your question, that's fine. We can just read it off of the chat. But if you'd like to, go ahead and put your camera on when she calls your name. So Jules, do I take it that Jenna is first up?
Yes.
What's up, Jenna?
Hey.
Hi.
I wanted to ask about Panorama and specifically what Choose-a-Palooza is going to look like virtually, or what that may look like in getting, I guess, training in different disciplines virtually this year.
Right on. Does anyone want to field that and start by defining, for those who don't know, what Choose-a-Palooza is? Neil, thank you so much. Choose-a-Palooza.
Choose-a-Palooza, based on an old archaic word, Lollapalooza, which is something that your parents can tell you about, are some of my most favorite days of the year, let alone of Panorama, because those are the days when we leave the tried and true and maybe sometimes rusty old class subject formats, right? We've had plenty of, vocal and terp classes and ballet classes, whatever that is. And on Choose-a-Palooza days, we can take things like haiku writing or abstract art with me. That was so much fun to do that last year. Or any sort of niche skill or any thing that any of our super talented faculty, cast and crew of creatives, anything that they feel like doing. And it makes for these fun, deeply nerdy groups of people pursuing very specific things like ventriloquism, or how do you pronounce that? Ventriloquism?
That was it. Well, Lindsay was saying it. Your mouth is moving, but Lindsay's the one responsible for the pronunciation. So you're good.
Thank you.
Neil, would you like to just address some of the Choose-a-Paloozas you've taught in recent years?
Oh man, what have I taught?
The golf comes to mind.
Yep, we created we did miniature golf course creation and curation, and we created our own mini golf course and then had people go through it. I taught stand-up comedy for the scared. Gosh, what else have we done? So many different things.
A lot of R&J.
Yeah, I've done lots of deep
analysis.
dives into one of my favorite scenes ever, the balcony scene in Romeo and Juliet. What else? Lindsay loved to do boy band jazz.
Boy band jazz, which I do.
Boy bands are a thing from the
virtually.
Lollapalooza era that your parents can tell you about.
JB, didn't you teach a hand-eye coordination class once?
I did. We juggled infants, day old infants, which were actually just sort of pieces of crumpled up towels swaddled in fake infant clothing. But we were definitely doing some juggling and baby tossing. Yeah, that's true.
Can I ask something just for those people who, like what Jenny was saying about how will you translate these things virtually, but also
right
to the people who are like, what are we listening to right now? Golfing and baby juggling? What is the purpose? Because it all, I've been there, I've seen it, I've taken it, I've taught it. It transcends learning, in my opinion, these Choose-a-Palooza days. And why are they so important? I haven't got to hear you geniuses who came up with the idea. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, before we transition to what it is in a virtual climate, I think that's great. Thank you, Gavin. I will say, for example, Neil taught and has, I think, taught on multiple occasions a volleyball Choose-a-Palooza, whereby whoever wants to sign up for that, does. And keep in mind, also faculty is taking these classes too, shoulder to shoulder with students. And I myself have, on more than one occasion, embarrassed myself and strained various muscles playing volleyball under Neil's guidance. But I will say in that, the idea is not to become a better volleyball player per se, but rather a better teammate. And the intricacies of what happens on the volleyball court are sort of manifold, and the moments when you hit the ball, at least 50 feet away from where it needs to be hit, but then all of your teammates kind of rush over to you and give you high fives, and the new normal, the default setting becomes courage and not worry about having lost a point for your team. And that, of course, is a lesson that would help you throughout the rest of that day and the following day and the next week or two, and ideally for the next many, many, many decades to come. So yeah, these are all classes that are hard to come by usually elsewhere, and tend to be a little off the beaten track, but aren't just sort of whimsical for the sake of whimsy. And with regard, Jenna, to your actual question, it changes very little in a virtual climate. Volleyball is not offered, nor is mini golf course creation. But other equally challenging and inventive and sort of, courage-inducing things that make you more risk averse in your life are offered online quite easily. That adapts pretty easily to what we're doing here. And those do tend to be days that everyone looks forward to, and they're pretty sweet. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. That was great.
Cool, thank you, Jenna. Maybe we should talk about what a day looks like at Blueprint versus Compass versus Panorama. Nina, do you want to talk us through Compass? Should we start there?
I love it. So Compass was designed to give people that consider themselves less comfortable with dance or insecure about dance, an opportunity to really just focus on learning, honing in on their dance skills. So I usually start the day, and I might switch, but usually I start the day with some sort of body conditioning, moving into a ballet, sort of a concentrated ballet class, where we really just focus on not trying to become ballet dancers, but to use the form to try and become more aware of our bodies, more aware of technical skills that you can use in any sort of dance form. I mean, so many people come and they have college auditions and they have to do a little ballet combination and they feel overwhelmed by it. So we kind of break stuff down so that it becomes less scary and just a little bit more. I mean, it's only usually a week, the program, but enough tools that you could say, oh, okay, so this isn't so frightening. And we sort of take it apart. We keep it capped at a certain amount of participants so that we really can hone in individually on everybody's sort of questions and weaknesses and insecurities. And then the second part of the day is normally dedicated towards, I'll pass it off to LaQuet, who teaches different dance form. We'll learn a little bit of rep. And basically it's just, it's a safe space to figure out what your bodies are doing and what it needs to do in order to pick up choreography and not to feel completely overwhelmed in those experiences. So I'm going to pass the baton to LaQuet, who's going to continue to, I think, talk a little bit about Compass.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what I do. I, from the jazz perspective, a little bit of contemporary, but I try to dissect what the actual step is, because I think, or at least in my experience with TPAP and with my experience of teaching, we get so freaked out when someone says pas de deux, like it's just dancing with another person. Like, so let's break that down. We don't have to be afraid of that. That's just your pal over there. So we're just going to go grab their hand. So then the next step is, how do you grab their hand? Why are you grabbing their hand? So I use a lot of energy work, because in order to feel or to get an audience to really understand where it is you're coming from, you got to relax, relate, release. Hello. So we do a lot of energy work while also breaking down what you are anatomically doing in your kinesphere. Yeah. Because if you can break that down step by step by step by step by step, Ease is going to happen. Grace is going to happen. Breath is going to happen. Light, love, energy, and justice for all is going to happen for your craft, no matter what style you are approaching. And that all happens, Lord, in an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. Okay, do you hear me? Do you feel me? Do you see me? That's what we're doing, because that's essentially what all of the art forms are talking about. We're all saying the exact same dialogue, or you know, we're all using the same words. We're just using them in slight different ways for each and everything that we're doing. And for me, as you can see all these books behind me over this past year, I just really took a deep dive into the anatomy and kinesiology and physiology, because friends, if you can figure out what's going on the inside, watch out when you step foot through the stage door. Look at these eyes. This is serious eyes. If I know what's going on the inside, I'm about to mess something up when I go on that stage. They better watch out. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you mess it all up.
Who is that character? What is that voice? Who is that character?
You know, I'm going to call them Mac. I'm going to call them my child's name because whenever I use this voice, she does not take me seriously. And I find when I use this voice in class, no one takes me seriously. So I'm going to call it Mac.
Mac.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Mac. Neil, and anybody else, do you want to just take a stab at describing Blueprint in brief and a typical day?
You're the person to do it.
Well, Blueprint is online. Is not a how many hour day is it? It's like 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. or something like that.
It's a little earlier than that, but I'll tell you what, while you describe Blueprint, Juliet can share screen and put up a sample schedule for all three programs.
Yeah.
So people can take a look at that while you provide a slightly more disembodied voiceover here, Neil.
Yeah. Well, Blueprint and Compass and Panorama, I mean, we all have the same artistic philosophy, which you're sort of, I hope you're sort of picking up on in our irreverent way here, you know, jump off the cliff, do the things that you're uncomfortable with. That's how you learn, how you grow, expand your comfort zone, lose your balance on purpose. So all of the programs have that sort of artistic philosophy, the non-hierarchical structure. And then each one sort of focuses on different things. And Blueprint, you know, while, you know, because everyone is of high school age, it functions as well as a college audition prep program, but we don't like to call ourselves that because it still is more, because it still does contain so much more, because we can find a lot of our own authenticity or find our voice or help figure out why we want to audition for college or what we're even here to do. But meantime, with real skills-based classes, regular classes with the same teacher more than once, so that they can get to know you and you can really move the needle on any of the skills inherent to musical theater. We find plenty of time for broader and more irreverent styles of learning. We have a grab bag class that can be something different every day, sort of in the same way of Choosapalooza. And during that time, we'll bring in industry professionals and bold-faced names to come in and do some Q&As and things like that. And we have our nightly Roundup, which is like just one of my favorite things in the world. And it's so hard to describe what a Roundup is, but it's like if you combined an improv show and a pep rally and a team meeting and what, at least at my summer wilderness camp, was called the campfire, where we would all come together and like sing some songs and celebrate each other. Roundup is a blast, and I was really worried about how it would go online, and it's been so fun online because there are things like Snapchat filters and stuff, and so we have a blast. And in this short amount of time, you know, I'm just really amazed at how, you know, these groups of high schoolers from all over the country can form an ensemble so quickly. That's sort of the gauntlet that we throw at their feet, that we try to like flick those competitive instincts off our shoulders as fast as possible and get to know each other as fast as possible and encourage each other to grow as fast as possible. And it really happens. Like, it really works. And so that's sort of the focus of Blueprint. Did I cover it, JB?
That was phenomenal. Thanks. I'll add that just from a technical standpoint, if any of you are seeing these sample schedules, but they're a little bit cropped on the sides, you can go up to view options and click on fit to window, and that'll do the trick. Lindsay and or Gavin, do you want to just take a stab at describing Panorama? Lindsay, you've been pointed at. You've been pointed at by Gavin.
Damn it. Panorama. So virtually, you'll start with a warm-up every day, usually run by the interns or Bubby Fellow, or Bubby Fellows if we have more than one, which we have in the past. And then you'll take some classes. You'll be in groups. Usually the groups are, I don't know, are they by age this summer, JB? I don't know.
Yeah, yet to be determined.
Okay, TBD. So you'll be in groups, and then you'll go take a class, and the class will be anything from vocal interpretation to wandering around your living room or bedroom, making observations and picking things up and turning them into other things, to, I don't know, what else have we done? We've done some, clowning, just awesome Broadway jazz just straight through the front door, like, I don't know, a chorus line rep, to voiceover, just anything that, not anything, but close to anything that you can imagine. That's what you're going to be doing. And you'll take a couple of classes, and then you'll have a break for lunch or for dinner.
Depending on where you are in the country.
Depending where you are. But right before dinner, we do this thing called 15-minute class, grab bag class. And it's, you're sorted into a room, a breakout room, or you'll go into, I think, it's a breakout room. And you're going to take a 15-minute class, which sounds absolutely ridiculous. And what can you get done in 15 minutes? Who knows? But it's going to be fun and wacky and maybe a little bit rushed. But it's just it's so fun. I did tutting last summer, and sometimes it'll be a Q&A, sometimes it'll be like an info session, sometimes it'll be, what did you do? Did you do a 15-minute last summer?
The abstract art thing.
Abstract art, like just basically a Choose-a-Palooza every day that's only 15 minutes long. And then you're set free to go to dinner, and you can have dinner doing your own thing, or you can have dinner with the interns and whatever faculty and other students want to come. And it's like a virtual cafeteria, basically.
And sometimes surprise guests
and
drop in.
Sometimes there are surprise guests that drop in and make your whole day. And then you come back from dinner to an R&D, which is short for research and development so far, until we come up with something else to make it short for. And you create, and you do just who knows what. I mean, you just get the best. You just get in a group with really awesome, brilliant people, both faculty and peers alike, and you
start with a creative idea and you make something.
You just make stuff.
And y'all, the stuff that people made last year was incredible. Like the brilliant acts of Zoom theater just blows my mind. Like Panorama, as you can tell, has this sort of posture of chaos a little bit, right? Like there's a lot of sort of like the same way like a physical trainer might take you through muscle confusion, right? And it might feel that way, but everything really, really contributes to this journey that we're all on as artists to sort of discover what our voice is and who we are. And that is a needle that moves like crazy in the short amount of time that we're together during Panorama.
Yeah, super collaborative, very much true to what it's called. You're researching and you're developing an idea and just going with it and turning it into something that is inexplainable. You just can't explain it. It's just So I'm trying to right now, but failing miserably. But that's only a testament to how wacky we get, how creative we get, and how much fun we have. We just have so much fun creating these things that live in this short amount of time. And sometimes it's done live virtually. Sometimes it's pre-recorded. Sometimes it's a hybrid. I did one of each last summer just to test my own limits and boundaries. And we just had a hell of a time. It was really, really, really cool. And you'll do three of them? 3 different ones?
Yeah, that's right. Three rotations of R&Ds. I want to invite any alumni who are with us for this conversation to pop out and address anything that you feel we've omitted. I see in the assembled parties here, at least a handful of folks who have been with us for one or more of the programs that we've just discussed. And Esther O herself has just arrived. Esther, what have we neglected to mention? And hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing so well. I'm really happy to be here.
See you.
I don't think that y'all missed anything. I would say I just came over from the live where Kayla and I briefly talked about each of the programs. And the way that I had talked about Panorama was kind of like an artist's retreat. Like it's not at all like a musical theater intensive, nor is it like completely just like a summer camp kind of thing. It's like the best of both worlds, but also you throw in really weird stuff and really funny stuff, and then like Neil Patrick Stewart, and so it's like woo, and that's what it feels like. And I can't imagine not auditioning for Panorama every year. So once I hit 25, we're gonna have some problems.
We'll cross that bridge, Esther.
When we get there, yes, I have
a few more seasons in you.
Yes.
Thanks, Esther. Thank you. Juliet?
Yes, I did have a question via direct message, and that was, how long are these programs? The Blueprint, Compass, and Panorama. So just wanted to answer that quickly for everybody, because there might be other people wondering. Our Blueprint is 2 weeks long, and we have 2 separate sessions of that. So your options are to do just one of them or go through, and we've had a few people last summer do both of them. The cool thing is you get that much more training, and you'll have the faculty will shift a little bit, so you'll get some new approaches to things. But we also have Compass is 1 week long, and you can do Blueprint and Compass at the in the same summer. And then we have Panorama, which is 2 weeks long. So your options there are to do, you can do Blueprint and then Panorama, or all of it except for Compass. So you could be with us for 6 weeks. What?
Did we mention, I don't know if we mentioned that the college reps that come to Blueprint, did anybody mention that?
We touched on it very briefly, but go ahead. Do you want to tell us a little bit more?
Before you do, Neil, can I just say, I just reposted the website link that Juliet posted at the beginning of the call, in case anybody was a little later getting on. If you click on this link, it will take you to our webpage about the programs. It'll have all the dates for the various programs that you can connect with the 2-week information that Juliet just gave you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure people knew that we're considering Blueprint, that, you know, for the students who come to Blueprint who are considering auditioning for college programs that require audition, like plethora of college reps come and do information sessions, and sometimes little sample classes, and they're optional. And we make sure that you have the space to go to those if you want. And so that's a cool opportunity to sort of catch the vibe of the different options out there.
Yes, last summer we had 24 different colleges and universities that our students all had access to. Well, that was really exciting.
Yeah, very. Are there any questions out there Anyone would like clarification on anything we've talked about?
Ella does.
Oh, yes.
Ella has a
Ella.
question. Come on and join us, Ella. What's up?
Hello.
All right, good to see you again.
Good to see you. I just had a question about like class size. I know this is my first year, but so I'm not sure like how it would be normally, but in Zoom, like how many people are we going to have in each class? This is for Blueprint. I should have probably clarified that at the beginning, but yeah.
Kim, it's hard to sort of figure that math out at this juncture, but we can give a ballpark.
Yeah, a ballpark would be about 12 to 15 students in a class group. And once we know how many students we have in the program total, then we decide how many class groups we're gonna create within that program. So, but it would be right around 15-ish. And then you would go through all of your rotations with that group. Now, what we did last summer, and I'm going to give myself room to say this is going to change, but I don't anticipate it changing. You had your class group that you were placed in for your vocal and acting classes. And then your dance classes were self-selected. So we would say, these are the levels of dance class. And then you decide what group that you fit into for dance. Okay. So it could be that the beginner group, or not the folks that are less experienced, might have a slightly smaller group or a slightly bigger group. We're not doing exact math on that because you're selecting what class you're in. But it all comes out pretty evenly in the wash. And ultimately, what's important for us is that the classes are small enough, and Nina was talking about this earlier, small enough that everybody can see everybody can participate, particularly in the dance classes, that everybody can receive corrections and not just be kind of this dot on the screen. Mm-hmm. So that's a priority for us, is keeping all classes small enough to get the individual attention that you need. Awesome. And in your acting classes, everyone's going to get a chance to do their work. In your vocal classes, everyone's going to get a chance to be heard. Like, there's not going to be, there were 30 people, I never got a chance to sing my cut. The classes will be small enough to accommodate everybody.
And I feel like we get best of both worlds too, because the roundup every day is everyone. We all come together, and we make sure that before Blueprint is over, every single student has had a moment of glory and or glorious failure in the best way during Roundup. So we all get to know one another, all of us, during that time. So you have these small groups that become like families, and then you have this big party at the end of every day.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella. And it actually speaks to a bigger problem in a moment like this, to try to talk articulately about what this summer is going to be, because in truth, we haven't programmed everything and can't until we know who's going to join us, because it's important to us to cater our programming, our mode of training, to the very people who are going to be alongside, and their weaknesses and their strengths. And I think I say weaknesses first for a reason, because they're usually more interesting, are the things that we're using to help curate the very things that will be on offer. So in some ways, this is still a little speculative, but we're doing our best. Anyone on the panel want to talk about anything that has been left unsaid?
I want to make a comment because I've come up against this when I've talked to different people about preparation for colleges or for Broadway or for, life. The simplest way I can say it is, I see new training programs popping up all over this country, all over the world, really. So each training program has a need to differentiate itself, has to be unique in some way, or has to attract. It's a business. Everybody, let's just call it what it is. It's a business. It is show business. It's not show play. We think it's show play, but and so we have to have our eyes open and realize we are running a business here. But what, for me, I get asked to do, as all of these people do, get asked to do master classes and Q&As, and will you come speak to this class, or will you come and do this thing, whatever. I have now narrowed it down to a few, maybe just a handful, that I will go and help with occasionally. But this is the one that I will always, always return to. And I'm going to tell you why I return to it. Doesn't matter what you think. It's about me right now. But this is why I return, is because of all of the places. I have taught a lot of places in the 20-some years since I graduated college. This is a place that is growing human beings, is more interested in growing a person who wants to make their life better, and isn't just growing an auditioner, isn't just growing a Broadway star, isn't growing somebody who can hit a high B flat. Because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm listening to people say, well, now you have to audition for 20-some schools in college. I think that is nonsense. That is my opinion. I say, not the opinion of maybe anybody on this panel, I don't know, but it's my opinion. Because when it comes down to it, when we're doing that, we're casting all of our energy so many different ways. And there's no good way to represent yourself in that way. And what's great for me about TPAP is that we see you. We know that you want to get into a college. We know you're worried about it. We know you're anxious about your dancing. You're worried that you can't hit that high A flat. You're worried that you're not that good of an actor. You're actually just a pretty voice. That was my whole bag for so long. This place meets you where you are, tries to embolden you to be you and to understand what makes you unique. Because I will stand by, this has been the truth of theater since the dawn of time, and it will be the truth since after all of us quit this business. The people who stand out are the ones who know themselves, who know how to play, who know how to make interesting, weird choices, who know how to fall down and go, whoops, that sucked, I'm getting back up. That is what TPAP does. We're not here to make you some cookie cutter Broadway performer. Let Broadway do that. It will chew you up, honey, and spit you out. And it has done for me again and again. It has given me such benefits. But I'm telling you, TPAP is what it is. And that's where I've never seen it from any other school, because we're not obsessing about you getting into college. That said, I will be teaching a class every year, I'm on my word, of audition technique. I will do a choosa, I will do an R&D, I will do a class, so that you feel when you touch with me, that sounded gross, when you touch space with me, you will be able to, that's Gavin's opinion about auditioning. Okay, cool. And you'll check in with LaQuet probably, and Nina, and Lindsay, and Patrick, Neil, I just looked at the name. But you'll be able to check in and get information. Okay, we hear you. You want to get into schools. This is really long. I'm sorry, I'm monologuing. That's all I want to say. That's why I'm here. That's why this is the place for me.
Thanks, Gavin. Thanks. And for the record, I think you're a terrific actor. We have time for one more question. Juliet, we have a question?
Yes, we do. Jada Francis.
Hi, Jada.
Hi.
So my question is about the dance portions. Can you hear me? Because I think it's freezing up a bit.
A little bit, but I think we can hear much of it. Yeah.
Okay. So, how will the dance and stuff basically?
I think it's maybe, did you get that? Maybe you should put it in the chat.
Oh yeah, Jade, if you want to type the question, we only heard it just partially. Something about the dance. The suspense is killing. This is really exciting.
We know it's about dancing.
How will the dance class be formulated online? Right. Nina, Kim, LaQuet, do you want to field that?
Yeah, I'll start, and then I'll just start with a little bit. So I'll normally teach some floor work, some body stuff, and a ballet ballet portion. So, you know, I will ask for you to find a little bit of space. I found my own sort of system. I teach at a college and I've been teaching quite a bit online. So I found my own little system where I pre-record a bar. So I have a video of the bar. And what I do is I will show you what the material is, the combination, the exercise, the sequence, and then I'll share the video so that you will, if you get lost and don't remember what it is, the video will be there for you to follow. And I can be right at the computer watching every person, giving them corrections, shouting at them, point your feet, keep your knees straight, look, keep your head up. Juliet knows because she took my class this summer. And it seems to work because I'm able to completely focus on you. I don't have to be doing it along with you. And yet you have something there in case you get lost. That works. That has worked for my that if by some chance your Wi-Fi goes out and you have dropped out of class, those videos will be available to you so you can practice any of the material on your own and your own time. There you go.
Thanks, Nina. Anyone else want to field any portion of that?
Yeah, no, for dance, I do work with you. I now have just taken over the entirety of the living room where I'm quarantined. So you are on this huge television. My swing brain needs to see the entirety of the playing field. Therefore, I can have a better conversation with you and be able to coach, lead, advise based upon not only what I'm feeling, but what I'm seeing in real time. That's how I personally like to work. And then after each section, instead of in person, I normally will just go straight through a warm up and then we'll have a conversation. But now I'm breaking it up, that whole 30 minutes into 10 minutes. Okay, now let's talk. Another 10 minutes. Now let's talk. Another 10 minutes. Now let's talk. Let's put the whole thing together and then let's talk. Is how, that's how I jam.
Thanks, LaQuet. Jada, I hope that answered your question. Thank you for asking it. And
can I just jump in real fast?
Please.
I think a lot of what we've seen during quarantine is this free pre-recorded dance class or paid pre-recorded dance class or paid master class. And what they're doing is sending you a video to watch. Just as a general across the board thing, we're not in person, but we are 100% live. You're never gonna have anything that's a pre-recorded, watch this and get smarter. It's always gonna be interaction in a classroom with our teachers in all departments. So know that going in, other than I guess the podcasts that we send you for cool downs and stuff are pre-recorded, but you're gonna love those, so you're gonna not mind that they're pre-recorded. But no classwork is ever going to be pre-recorded and sent to you.
And I also want to add that for those in Compass, we'll do privates. Like we'll set up time so that I'll work with each student privately on anything, like 20-minute privates during the week.
Great. Thanks. And thank you all for joining us. Thanks to this amazing panel for devoting their time to this tonight. Thanks to Esther, who also joined us. You're welcome, Jada. So happy that you were able to ask that question. And thank you to all for joining us tonight. It means a lot. It truly is humbling that so many of you are interested in what we're cooking up. So thanks for joining us tonight. And keep in mind, of course, that if there's ever any other question that comes to mind, you can always reach out to our info email, and there's a phone number on there too. By all means, let us know if you have anything that we can clarify. All right, thanks, folks. Thanks, have a great night. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We should go with a song.
We should have gone out with a song.
Music. Esther, sing for us.
Can you sing a little something for us, Esther? We can duet.
Sing us out.
Goodbye.
And that is the type of training that we are offering on the vocal side of things. Esther's been with us for 15 years now, and that's what that was amazing, Esther. Thank you. I appreciate it. Put on the spot. I can't thank all of you enough for being here. Esther, thanks so much.
Well, she left.
She left.
She's
She
like,
left
oh,
us.
you made me sing, I'm out.
All right, I'm zoomed out. Bye-bye. I love you all.
Goodbye.
Bye,
See you, Nina.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Mwah.
See you. Take care, everybody.
Bye.